Have you ever felt like life keeps handing you the same pain, just different faces? Welcome back to the channel where truth is spoken, healing is honored, and growth is the mission. Welcome to Family Focused, the Healing the Roots movement. I need to ask you something. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you worked, no matter how much you gave, no matter how obedient you were, no matter how much of yourself you sacrificed, it still wasn't enough? Have you ever felt like life kept handing you the same pain, just wearing different faces? Have you? Different relationships, different environments, different disappointments, but somehow the same emotional outcome: feeling unseen, feeling unsupported, feeling unsafe, feeling like something about you must be broken. For most of my life, I thought that was me. I thought maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. Maybe I wasn't lovable enough. Maybe I wasn't disciplined enough. Maybe I was too emotional, too needy, too much, or somehow just not enough. But what I eventually came to understand is changing my life forever. There was never anything wrong with me, not even when they said so. I was living in survival mode, and survival mode will have you blaming yourself for adaptations you developed in environments that never felt safe. See, some of us were not raised, we were managed. We were taught how to obey, but not how to feel. We were taught how to perform, but not how to heal. We were taught how to survive, but never how to thrive. I know what it feels like to grow up confused, to feel unwanted, to feel like no matter what you do, you are carrying a weight that other people around you somehow don't seem to carry. I know what it feels like to work harder than everyone else and still feel invisible, to watch other children experience joy while your life feels like labor, to be taught that your voice is disrespectful, that your emotions are inconvenient, that your needs are burdensome. And when that becomes your foundation, you do not grow up into adulthood asking, "What do I want?" You grow into adulthood asking, "What must I do to avoid rejection, abandonment, or pain?" That is survival mode. Survival mode is not laziness. Survival mode is not weakness. Survival mode is a highly intelligent adaptation of environments that required self-betrayal for acceptance. So you become the people pleaser, you overwork, you settle, you tolerate disrespect, you struggle to rest, you struggle to receive love, you attach your worth to service, sacrifice, and productivity. Because somewhere deep inside, you learned that love had to be earned. And this is where so many people are living right now. Not because they're failing, but because they are programmed. And here is the truth that is changing everything for me. Your programming will run your life until you become conscious of it. Many of us are living on emotional autopilot, reacting, overgiving, overthinking, overcompensating. Not because that is who we are, but because that is who we had to become. Viktor Frankl said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose." That quote is life-changing because survival mode shrinks that space. When you are programmed for survival, your reactions feel automatic. Your fear feels like truth. Your dysfunction feels normal. Your suffering feels familiar. But healing Healing is about expanding that space. Healing is when you begin to notice, I do not actually want this. I do not actually deserve this. This environment is not healthy. This relationship feels familiar because it mirrors my wounds, not because it is love. And that awareness is where transformation begins. For me, reprogramming meant walking away from harmful patterns, walking away from unhealthy relationships, walking away from identities built around pain. It meant becoming emotionally aware. It meant understanding that some of the behaviors I developed as a child were survival strategies, but they cannot remain life strategies. Because survival strategies may protect you in chaos, but they will sabotage you in peace. And that is one of the hardest truths to accept. When chaos is all you know, peace can feel uncomfortable. Love can feel suspicious. Rest can feel lazy. Healthy relationships can feel boring because your nervous system was trained for survival, not stability. So healing becomes the process of teaching your mind, body, and identity that peace is safe. And let me be clear, this process is not easy. I am still doing this work. But awareness changed everything. Because once you can see the programming, you can stop calling it a personality. Once you can identify the wound, you can stop building your identity around it. Once you understand the root, you can finally begin healing it. And that is why I share my story. Because there are too many people, especially young people, walking around believing something is wrong with them, when in reality, they may simply be operating from environments that programmed them for survival instead of significance. You need to hear me clearly. Your environment matters. The people around you matter. Feeling safe matters. Feeling supported matters. Being emotionally seen matters. Thriving is not just about money. Thriving is the ability to breathe. Thriving is having the emotional capacity to choose. Thriving is living in environments where love does not feel conditional. Thriving is experiencing favor in your relationships, your mind, your family, your future. Thriving is no longer living as the frightened version of yourself that survival created. Thriving is becoming who you were always meant to be before survival taught you otherwise. So if you've spent your life believing you were broken, if you have spent your life overworking for worth, if you have spent your life repeating painful cycles, I want you to consider something. Maybe you are not broken. Maybe you are programmed. And if you are programmed, you can be reprogrammed. That is the work. That is the mission. Healing the roots so future generations do not have to spend their lives recovering from what they survived. If this message hit home, it's because you're waking up. And healing begins where awareness starts. If this helped you, like, share, and subscribe. And let's keep healing one truth at a time. Healing the nation, one child at a time. And before you go, I highly recommend exploring books like Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and Think and Grow Rich. Because rebuilding your life begins with rebuilding your mind. And before I go, I'd like to say hello to my now 455 subscribers. And to those of you who engage with my content, thank you so much. See you on the next video.